Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be turning this Bachmann B unit into a dummy locomotive. I'm sure some of you guys remember this Bachmann B unit. I unboxed it amongst two Bachmann A units, both with the exact same paint scheme. Basically, all three of them had a few problems. It turned out the A units just needed to be reprogrammed, so they wound up to be fine. But this one, I'm sure some of you guys remember, had a broken truck, so I was not able to fix it. So anyways, originally I was going to buy parts for it, but then the subscriber gave an excellent suggestion, which is that since this is an Alco, and this is also an Alco, I could transfer the sound decoder into this and gain some extra sound. So anyway, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking all this out, just turning this into a dummy, and then in a future video we'll put all these parts into that engine. I'll also put the comment of that person up on the screen because they do deserve credit. I mean, it was a genius idea. Anyway, we're going to be removing all this stuff, or at least something approximating that, and we're going to turn this thing into a fine dummy locomotive. So let's get started. So to begin, we're going to remove the sound decoder. I'm going to try to be as careful as I can because if you break these decoders, that's obviously not good. They're worth about, I think, $100. I'm not sure how much the Bachmann ones are, but sound decoders are not cheap things. Anyway, we're going to remove these little plastic sleeves. These are what actually hold in all the wires for the electrical pickups. And I've worked on these before. I believe you just kind of slide them off like so. Trying to be as gentle as possible here. Really don't want to risk cracking the board. So we got all these wires out. Actually, probably could have left those wires in because they're for the speaker. We're not going to be removing the speaker, obviously. Alright, so we have some timeline. You can see on there, it is, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it says right here, Eco Diesel Rev A. So I don't know what that means. Anyway, but it's copyright 2011 soundtracks, Durango, CO, all rights reserved. So this was built at some point after 2011. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, we're going to take the wires there and see if we can get the trucks actually out of the body so that we can remove all the components which are currently preventing this thing from acting as a dummy B unit. So there's one. And there is the second one. I put these two leads back on just so that we wouldn't lose which way the motor was wired, because that could be important. We are going to be removing the motor though, because I want to actually use it in the next locomotive I put it in, and the reason for that is I really like the Athearn motors. I mean, they're fine motors, but I just don't know what a motor that could be up to maybe 30 years old, what kind of current that might be pulling, and these decoders are super sensitive, so if I use the same motor, it will reduce the risk of us having a problem, basically. And I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to get this motor to fit in there. I mean, it's about the same size as an Athearn motor. Bachmann motors, in my experience, are not built as well as the Athearn motors. I have seen a couple of their 5-pole ones burn out, but they're fine motors, and these are the newer ones too, so they might have improved the design since the ones I was working on were probably about 30 years old. Then again, so are the Athearns. Okay, we're going to lift out that little cross piece there. And I'm going to try putting force on both sides. And there you have it. There's our motor. Nice. So there's our chassis, basically completely gutted out there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fit up the trucks so that they don't have worm gears, which obviously interfere with the motion of this, and we'll start putting our engine back together again. For anyone that doesn't know what happened, basically the reason this was broken is that when you went in a direction, this would pop out and it would jam up the locomotive. So anyway, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be removing these parts so that we can use it as a dummy engine, because if you obviously, the other truck is perfectly intact, but this truck, if you try going backwards, it would lock up. So we need to remove these two screws on the top here. You can see there's one on each side. Just remove those. That piece comes out. I think I'm going to leave the gears intact, because my impression is that this engine hasn't had too many miles put on it, which means that basically the gears are going to turn pretty freely. I'll do a test actually, just see here. Yeah, there's not much resistance. You can see the gear on top actually turns under its own weight a little, so it's fine. And we'll do the same to this engine. I'm also going to secure the worm gears in the motor bay there. That way, if we ever want to convert this thing back into a working B unit, the majority of the components will be there intact, so it's always an option. I managed to get the worm gear out. I just very gently pulled back on this piece of plastic and then just sort of wiggled it out. I wouldn't suggest doing that. There's probably a better way, but frankly, I just wanted to get that piece out, and since I'm already turning this thing into a dummy engine, I wasn't overly concerned. We just need to make sure the vital components stay all right. I've already got the wires of one of the trucks up through here. I just decided to do that part off camera because I don't want to bore you guys with those types of things. So anyway, it's really easy. You just need to make sure you get the gear on the outside. You get it all right, because trucks can be directional in some cases. I'm not sure if in this case that would matter much, but I mean, if we want to do this right, we want to do it so that it's basically as similar as it would be had we not done this modification. And once you have both those fed through, you just need to make sure that these actually slide up. You should see the plastic kind of just sticking out a little bit there. And now one of these sets of screws here, I believe it's wider ones. Here's one of them. Alright, sounds good enough on that. Alright. Don't know if there's a specific way this is supposed to go on. Actually, I forgot a step. I've just got all the parts that are part of this engine but won't be used while it is a dummy engine. So I'll just put those basically back in this bag. We're going to put that back in the locomotive somehow. This needs to fit enough. And this shouldn't interfere with anything. Just, you know, keep the parts as close to home as possible, really. So, yeah. And once you get the screws that you accidentally put inside the engine out, you can, well, actually attach the shell to the body of the engine. There we go. So, as you can see, this thing does roll relatively well, which leaves us only one thing left to do, which is to take it over to the track and run it with the 2 B units, which now allegedly work. Let's go test it. Alright, so we've got all 3 of them set up on the track, and it just looks amazing, really, as a group of 3 there. Anyway, we're going to put some power to the track, and well, there they go. Well, folks, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I have to say I'm really happy with how these units all turned out together. And yeah, I think it's going to be awesome once we get to put that new decoder and sound module into the other Alico there. So, overall, a good outcome. Thank you guys for watching.